Please therefore describe the Almighty Lord's activities which you have learned by your vast knowledge of the Vedas, for that will satisfy the hankerings of great learned men and at the same time mitigate the miseries of the masses of common people who are always suffering from material pangs. Indeed, there is no other way to get out of such miseries. Purport. Sri Narad Muni from practical experience definitely asserts that the prime solution of all problems of material work is to broadcast very widely the transcendental glories of the Supreme Lord. There are 4 classes of good men and there are 4 classes of bad men also. The 4 classes of good men acknowledge the authority of the Almighty God. Therefore, such good men, when they are in difficulty, when they are in need of money, when they are advanced in knowledge, when they are inquisitive to know more and more about God, intuitively take shelter of the Lord. As such, Naradji advises Vyasadeva to broadcast the transcendental knowledge of God in terms of the vast Vedic knowledge which he had already attained. As far as the bad men are concerned, they are also 4 in number. Those who are simply addicted to the mode of progressive fruitive work and thus are subjected to the accompanying miseries. Those who are simply addicted to vicious work for sense gratification and so suffer the consequences. Those who are materially very much advanced in knowledge but who suffer because they do not have the sense to acknowledge the authority of the Almighty Lord, and the class of men who are known as atheists and therefore purposely hate the very name of God, although they are always in difficulty. Sri Naradji advised Vyasadeva to describe the glories of the Lord just to do good to all 8 classes of men, both good and bad. Srimad Bhagavatam is therefore not meant for any particular class of men or sect. It's meant for the sincere soul who actually wants his own welfare and peace of mind. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Tvamapi adabhra-śruta viśrutaṁ vibhoḥ samāpyate yena vidāṁ bubhutsitam prākhyāhi duḥkhair muhur arditātmanāṁ saṅkleśa-nirvāṇam uśanti nānyathā. Translation again. Please therefore describe the Almighty Lord's activities which you have learned by your vast knowledge of the Vedas, for that will satisfy the hankerings of great learned men and at the same time mitigate the miseries of the masses of common people who are always suffering from material pangs. Indeed, there is no other way to get out of such miseries. Here in the verse it's mentioned, adabhra-śruta viśrutaṁ. Adabhra, vast, Shruta, Vedic literatures, viśrutaṁ, have heard. So here Narad is telling Vyas that you have indeed heard the Vedas, the vast knowledge now you have accumulated of the Almighty Vibhoḥ. This is actually learning. When we speak about knowing, knowledge, in Vedic terms, knowledge means, do we know about the Supreme Personality of Godhead and our relation to Him, about His energies, His avatars, His creation? This is knowledge. So when we speak about Shruta, Shruta, actually Shruti we say is the name of the Vedas, Shruti, because that is what is heard. What would people hear before? They'll hear the Vedas. When people sit down to discuss in the evening, either they'll hear the Smriti or the Brahmanas will discuss Shruti. But people understood importance of knowing this knowledge because they understood that this constitutes knowledge. Now knowledge is taken to mean material subjects. People now, unfortunately, human society has been organized that we spend some 20, 33 years simply acquiring material knowledge. But technically, that's not knowledge and education. What is knowledge? Knowledge comes from the word to know. Know means I know something, I know some information. But actually, if you look at that word to know, knowledge, knowledge means something useful knowledge. Like we studied in computers very early on, data. Data is data. And information is useful data. That's what. So knowledge is useful information which I can use. But can I really use this material knowledge? Can we really use this knowledge? Is it useful? Material knowledge, is it useful? How much can it help us? We accumulate so much knowledge. Our society, human society now has knowledge. And now we don't talk, knowledge is available at our fingertips. So much knowledge. But what has it done? What is the benefit? Because this is material knowledge. So when Narad is speaking about learning, Shruta, you heard. He's speaking about Vedic literatures. Vyas, you have heard adabhra, vast, great knowledge of the Vedas you have. About viśrutaṁ, have heard about vibhoḥ, the Almighty Supreme Lord. You have heard about Him. And then he's saying, this you have to speak to people about. Vedas has a lot of knowledge. People are interested in so many other parts of knowledge. But really, why were the Vedas given? Maya grasta jeev, nahi sata Krishna gyan. Jivara kripa kaila Krishna, Veda Puran. This jiva who is overtaken by Maya, Maya grasta jeev, he is unable to come out on his own. Nahi svata Krishna gyan. So, Jivara kripa kaila, Krishna had mercy on the jivas. Jivara kripa kaila, Krishna, Veda Puran, and has given the Veda and Puran. But people got stuck in the flowery language of the Vedas. There's a lot of knowledge we can attain and benefits. But actually the point is we have to come to God. Are we coming to God? The point of life, jiva satattva jigyasa, the jiva has to inquire. And this we have to see daily basis, yearly basis. Are we coming to God? Are we attaining knowledge? Narad Muni came and narrated all of his pastime. This is in chapter 5, the last verse, where Narad Muni explains about his life. How he came to these great personalities who Prabhupada refers to as the Bhakti Vedantas. And he got knowledge, and what happened after that? He got knowledge, got purified, and then later on Vyas will ask, so after you got that knowledge, what did you do? That is the question he wants to ask. But the point, why did Narad say all this? Is to tell Vyas, Vyas, please compile knowledge and narrations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You have a lot of knowledge, but what we are concerned with is about the vibhoḥ, the great personality. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is actually permeating everything. He is everything. We say Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Actually Krishna is everywhere. But Maya played such a trick that we cannot see him. He is everywhere. He is in our intelligence. He is in our thought. He is in our consciousness. But the power of the Supreme is such, he can make you forget that. And that's not possible. Strictly speaking, Jiva is created only to worship God, to serve God. That's the purpose. What is the purpose of our life? This is the purpose. There is no other goal. Na artho yaschera karma bhi, it says in Bhagavad. There is no other purpose. But how is it that Jiva forgot Krishna and is not serving him? Only by Krishna's mercy, not mercy, well, mercy. It is mercy because we will be contaminated. We have to come back to the decontamination state. So only because of Krishna can this happen. There is no power on earth. How can matter, how can spirit, which is superior to matter, be covered by Maya, matter? It's not possible. Water and oil will never mix. Spirit and matter cannot mix. But when Krishna desires, he can do that. He is able to do that. So he did that, and by his power, now we forgot about Krishna. It's a great mystery how Jiva can come to this stage, crawling on like a cockroach, looking for whatever, I don't know, they eat in the gutter and wherever they go. That is a Jiva, eternal servant of Krishna. He forgot about God. So now, to come out, for us to come out of that, it's only by Krishna's mercy we can come out. We cannot come out on our own. Nahi svata Krishna Gyan. On our own we cannot come. Because that intelligence you want to use, that is also in Maya. That intelligence is contaminated by the modes. At the moment, Baddha Jiv, his intelligence is taking him away from Krishna. That is the nature. Don't use your intelligence. Don't use your mind. They are now agents of Maya. Maya contaminate is using them to bring you to Maya, to her. We have to abandon it. Abandon your intelligence and mind. Take the intelligence of Shastra. What is Shastra saying? See through the Shastra, Guru and Sadhu. And any plan you want to make, better to consult the Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. There will be a time in future, and this will be ascertained by a Guru or authority, when our intelligence is purified. When we are in a state of Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga means our intelligence is linked to Paramatma. And therefore whatever we are thinking is actually Krishna's input. That is a very high stage, easy to say. That's a very high stage. But at that stage you can use your intelligence. If someone has reached that stage, then he is known as a Guru. Guru can take you out. Because he is not in there. He is not in the Maya, he will take you out. So, at that stage we can, otherwise we should not have any great hope in this intelligence. Not only ours, but so many people writing these self-help books. 7 spiritual laws of success. Oh, so you mean you got success? You wrote the book. But everyone's getting old and dying. Who's free from death? Only they can write a book about how to come out of this. So Narad Muni is saying, you should compile this knowledge of the Supreme. That Vyas, you attain this great knowledge of Vedas, but Vedic knowledge means really knowledge of God, finally. And therefore Bhagavatam is said to be that Nigama Kalpataror Galitam Phalam. Phalam is fruit. In a tree, there are many different parts. We have the bark, the leaf, the flower, but the most important part is the fruit. The whole point why people plant a mango tree is for the mango fruit. Okay, we'll use the leaf, we'll use other things. The fruit is where the leaves are getting energy, the roots are taking everything. Why? To just produce that fruit. This is the best part. So the fruit of the Vedas is the Bhagavat. Bhagavat we can say referring to a book or treatise, but Bhagavata means science of God. So the science of God is what is required to know. What we are required to know is science of God. This is knowledge. So Narad Muni is telling Vyas, yes, you compile the Vedas, but we need to know about the Supreme. And we have to tell people. Why do we have to tell people? He says here, saṅkleśa. Saṅkleśa means suffering. People are suffering. The Jiva is produced from Krishna, expanded. Krishna says, Eko bahusyam, I was one, I became many. Why? For his enjoyment. We are meant to give pleasure to the Supreme. This is the purpose of our existence. Why do we say that by hearing Krishna Katha we become happy, by serving Krishna we become happy? Because we are going back to what is we are meant to do. That is our dharma. That is our actual position, swarup, actual form, actual position. Therefore it makes people happy. Prabhupada gave the example many times about the fish. Fish is out of water, not happy. He's in the water, he's happy. A big change has to come in our consciousness. It's a great change. In Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 12th canto, the types of pralaya explained. One pralaya happens at the end of Brahma's day. Another pralaya happens at the end of Brahma's life. And a third pralaya is given. Does anyone remember what it is? The third pralaya happens when we get moksha. It's explained. Pralaya means destruction. When someone becomes self-realized, it's a destruction of his material consciousness. So, mukti. This is explained as the third pralaya. Pralaya means destruction. Destruction of his material consciousness. So, a big revolution has to happen. Why were the Vedas given? Because we have to destroy this material consciousness. It's not easy. Man mana. Bhagavad Gita gives the saṅkshep, the summary of the Bhagavad. Essence of the Gita is in one verse. We have, of course, conclusion of Gita in one verse. Then you have the essence in one verse. Then you have the summary of the Gita in one verse. There are 3 different verses. Now, what do we call the essence of the Vedas? Which verse do you think that is? Essence of the teaching. Yeah. No, that is the conclusion. Yeah, correct. Just before the conclusions come the essence of the teachings. Essence of Bhagavad Gita is man mana, bhava mad bhakti. Think of me. Okay, we heard it so many times. Think of Krishna. We are not thinking. Are we thinking? It's not easy. And previous acharyas explain about that verse. Baladevi Debhushan comments on that verse. He writes, Krishna, he wants you to be his devotee. He doesn't want you to become my devotee, but your mind is on somewhere else. So he didn't say first, you become my devotee. He said, first think of me. Now to think of Krishna is a big thing. Because we understand thinking, feeling, willing. If you're thinking of something, that will permeate our whole consciousness. It will determine what we do in the next second, what we do with our senses, what we do with our life, what we think of at death. So, manmana, Krishna is instructing, think of me. Then he says, become my devotee. And then so Baladevi Debhushan explains, he says, just like a servant is serving the master, but he's not thinking about the master. He's thinking about the money that I'll get from serving. So Krishna said, I don't want that kind of service. Manmana, I want you to think of me, fully be immersed in me, and at the same time become my devotee. Manmana bhava mad bhakto, then man tyaji mam namaskuru. So to think of Krishna, that attraction has to come. This means a revolution in consciousness. Because we will not think of Krishna unless we are convinced, isn't it? You have to become convinced. And how do we get conviction? By the Vedas. The knowledge has to be given about the Supreme. Again, you cannot come to the Supreme immediately. In Srimad Bhagavatam, they don't talk about Krishna immediately. People will blaspheme, people will criticize, people will, they're not going to. So they speak a lot other things, so many other things. The whole second canto is material knowledge. Creation of matter and constituents of matter, material world, functioning of the material world. So much is there. This is given first. And Prabhupada understanding our mind gives in the purport there. Why is it that we are learning so much about matter when Bhagavatam is about how to transcend matter? We want to transcend matter and material energy. Why is it that we're learning so much about matter? What do you think? Why is it? Why are we learning about material world? Huh?
We want our own experience.
No, I'm saying, why does Bhagavatam speak so much about matter? Material creation, material world, material matter, body, 16, how it's made, how it's working.
We understand how we are bound.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. How we are bound. Basically, we are in a material world, in a material body. We have to understand. So, whereas here, Narada is telling Vyas that adabhra-śruta viśrutaṁ vibhoḥ. You have to explain everyone what you studied about the Almighty Supreme Lord. So, Vyas wrote Bhagavatam. But it's not only about the Supreme Lord. That comes in the 10th canto. Of course, we have about avatars. But like 2nd canto, 3rd canto, throughout, and the 5th canto is all about those hellish heavenly planets. So much about material world. Later comes about Supreme. The reason is because, how are you going to think about Supreme Lord? We have to come out of this material covering, that's one. Two, this is also Krishna's energy, and it's within our experience right now. We don't know Vaikuntha, we learn something, or what will you understand? People have big problem understanding Vaikuntha, having faith. One of Prabhupada's disciples, Pradyumna, was it? Or Purushottam. He left because Prabhupada said that we didn't land on the moon. Purushottam. He left. He couldn't understand why is Prabhupada saying this. We landed on the moon. Why is Prabhupada saying we didn't land on the moon? Then he left Prabhupada. He was a personal servant of Prabhupada. So he could not grasp that. And so we have to know about this matter. We have to know, and then gradually from matter we become realized how Krishna is controlling matter. This is within our experience. But also we have to come out of the material conception. Therefore we have to know what matter. So when he was told by Narad Muni to speak about Krishna, he took it systematically, because we have to go systematically. We have to know what matter, how to come out of this matter, and how it's functioning, what is the material body. And gradually we become purified and we come to Krishna. Even Bhagavad Gita. Krishna wants to speak about himself. He speaks through matter. Shabda Ke, I am sound in air. Rasoham apsu, I am taste in water. Prabhasmi shashi surya yoho, I am the light in the sun and the moon. There he is explaining about himself. So step by step, we have to understand about, as Prabhupada writes here, the Almighty Lord's activities. Almighty, we are not hearing this word in English. Almighty means the mighty one, the great one. So now, Narad Muni did compile Bhagavatam. He compiled it, and he put science of God, and he explained what Narad Muni said he should put. And Narad Muni says, Nirvāṇam uśanti nānyathā. There is no other means to come out of misery than Katha of Krishna. There is no other way. You should understand. This is repeated many times in Bhagavatam. It comes again in before this. After this, it comes again. Yasyam yaya samohito jiva atma trigunatmakam param manute deva tat karma cha vibhadyate. I'm sorry, I mean something like that. So by the supreme, the jiva, no, that's not the one. Yasyam shruyamanayam Krishna parama purushe bhakturutpa. Sorry, even before that, there's that other one. Anatama upashamam sakshat bhakti yogam adhokshaje lokasya ajanatha vidāṁ chakre satat samitam. Sutta Goswami is saying that actually anartha upashamam, the anartha means things which are not of value. Envy, anger, greed, lust, anxiety, and that. Anartha upashamam, this can be destroyed. How? By bhakti yoga. But people don't know. Lokasya ajanatha vidāṁ chakre satat samitam. Therefore, the great vidvam Vyasdev compiled Srimad Bhagavatam to educate us that your endeavor should be to know about the Supreme. Then everything will be okay. We are suffering and sinning because of avidya, ignorance of who we are and who is God and what is our relation. Due to ignorance, sinful activity is born. Nectar of Devotion says, right in the first chapter, sinful activity happens due to avidya. People don't realize who we are, what we're meant to do. It's not just knowledge, it requires realization. That means we study knowledge and serve the Supreme, then that knowledge becomes realization. Then we realize, we internalize the knowledge and understand. Then when we are convinced, then we are able to think of the Supreme Lord. So how can we just think of the Lord just like that? It's not possible. We are told, think of Manmana. But for that, we have to be convinced. Why should I think of God? Therefore, it's so important to study, understand the philosophical knowledge, because we will not be convinced. We will not think of God. We think of so many other things. But thinking of the Supreme, if we reach this stage, thinking, feeling, willing, then we are very much inclined to serve Him, to be with Him.
Then how come a lot of people without knowledge they are devotees?
Without knowledge.
Without knowledge, they don't understand much about
philosophy
or how the acharan is to be done, but they have a firm conviction.
Okay, actually speaking, strictly speaking, bhakti doesn't depend on knowledge. It doesn't depend on anything. And bhakti itself gives knowledge. Strictly speaking, the Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Jana Atyashu Vairagyam Jnanam Yadahitukam. Simply by performing bhakti, one will get knowledge of God and will get detachment. That is a fact. But in the present age, but as Prabhupada said in one public program, he said, if you simply chant Hare Krishna, you'll go back to Godhead. He said, but if you want to know more and be more convinced, we have so many literatures. So the situation is like this now. Supposing I go to a villager, normal, simple villager who's not contaminated, and I teach him to chant, he'll get perfection. He'll not need to be convinced so much. But now in this age, that's not so easy.
But we experience that when book distribution, some devotees they easily take and they don't have much education.
This is second part of what I want to say, that if you see somebody who took bhakti, he took everything so simply. In a past life, he would have read and got realization. In the past. Because mostly we all came from the past. Prapya punakritam lokan purusha shashvati samam shrimatam suchinam gehe yoga brashas vijayati. Somehow we came into a situation where we were able to again take it. So from the past we got it. But now simple villagers, people who are simple, and actually Prabhupada explains, even women, they are simple-minded. They also don't require philosophy. They'll just chant and take it and accept it. But our rascal mind, Prabhupada says, and fertile mind, fertile. You know why he says fertile brain? He uses this term a lot. Because, you know, in fertile land, what happens when it rains? What will happen? Immediately things grow. You don't even plant. So in our mind, so many ideas are coming. This and this and this and that. And Prabhupada says fertile brain. It's giving so many ideas. So now we have to cancel this out. We have to develop detachment. We have to have a determination to serve Krishna. For that I have to cancel out so many other plans that I have through philosophy. Convinced that, look, you're thinking that I will get happiness and peace because of my money. No, it's not, because this philosophy. Okay. No, but I'll get it if I be very healthy and if I do good and serve poor people. No, actually, yes, but that is not bhakti. And like this, we have to be convinced through philosophy. Strictly speaking, bhakti doesn't depend on jnana. Bhakti doesn't depend on anything. But in the present age, we are like that. That's one thing. Another thing is that it's easy to evoke bhakti through narrations of Supreme. Krishna says in Gita to Arjuna, in this chapter, Vibhuti Yoga. Now in Vibhuti Yoga, what happens? Krishna is speaking his greatness, Vibhuti. But to draw Arjuna's attention before that, he says, Etam vibhutim yogam cha mama yo veti tatvataha so avikalpena yogena yujyate na atra saṅkleśa. He says, Arjuna, I am going to tell you about my vibhuti, my greatness. That is chapter 10. He said, Etam vibhutim and yogam. You understand my mystic power and my opulence. What will be the result? Mama yo veti tatvataha so avikalpena yogena yujyate. You will worship me without any contamination. So when we hear about the glories of the Lord, it evokes bhakti. Bhakti is born. When I understand, and devotees become enlivened. When we hear Supreme, Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead is controlling everything, under Him everything is function. Devotees become enlivened to hear this. How Supreme is. That is at a lower level, Shanta Ras, then higher rasas are there. So yes, we don't have to get knowledge for bhakti. But our situation is, we have so many mental contaminations that now we have to first read the books. And when anyone that came in front of Prabhupada, he didn't speak about chanting Hare Krishna or Krishna. First he spoke about, you are a soul. Soul, you are not the body. Do you understand? No, I don't understand. See, the car is crashed, then you get a new car, so our body is damaged, we get a new one. Do you understand? No. Then he'll not go beyond that. In one conversation with a journalist, the journalist wanted to inquire about his philosophy. Prabhupada refused to move. Do you understand? No. Soul. I didn't understand. Anyway, what about Krishna? No. First of all, you have to understand this. So Prabhupada didn't even speak about bhakti or chanting or Krishna. You understand your soul? Yes, I understand. Okay. Now soul, for next step is, what is his nature? What is, these. So that is all covered in knowledge, but it starts with that. It starts on this level. You see, even Bhagavad Gita, first part of knowledge, Krishna starts talking from verse 2.2. Instruction starts from 2.7. Immediately, Karpana dosha, that he surrenders. But Krishna Shiksha starts at 2.11 or 12? 11. That you and me, we are eternal. No, that is the 12. Yeah, he says that how has this impurity come on you? So instruction starts at 12. 12 is, Krishna says, chapter 2, text 12, that how have the impurities come in you? Neither you nor me, nor all these kings, none of us will die. We are eternal. This is the first instruction of Krishna in Gita. If you analyze, what is the first instruction? That is what Krishna says. He just talks about soul, chapter 2, Sankhya Yoga. So this is the first stage. We have to understand that about soul. And after that, then we can come to higher knowledge. So now, why are we speaking about this katha in Krishna? Because by this bhakti is born, and by this determination comes in bhakti. Determination comes. Why? Because I am convinced. In one quote, Prabhupada says that we have to daily read Bhagavatam. Why? He says, because you will get the determination, you will get the ability to do more austerity. Supposing my feet are paining, it's difficult to walk and go upstairs, supposing. But suddenly fire is caught here, and I understand that, this place is catching fire, and I'm going to run out. I'm not going to see whether my feet are paining, I cannot go up, my calf, there's a pain, there's some joint, something. I'm going to run very fast. Similarly, if I'm convinced I have to think of Krishna and surrender to him, I'll do it. Otherwise, so many things will come to block it. So many things. Still, I have to do this and this and that. I'm postponing surrender. I'll do that, I'll do this. So many things are there. But if I study Gita, Bhagavatam, these two books especially, Prabhupada said, then actually those more important than the verses, Prabhupada said, are his purports. Where Prabhupada is taking a gada and bashing, surrender, rascal, surrender. Why aren't you surrendering? Rascal, fool, mudha, surrender, surrender. He's again reminding. So then if we constantly read that knowledge, getting this will make us surrender. And therefore this reading is important now. This katha for the jivas. Brahma just heard 4 verses and became self-realized. Bhagavatam was spoken in 4 verses. He got it. We need a lot of more verses than 4. 18,000. And then Brahma, he spoke to Narad. When Brahma spoke to Narad, he actually gave instruction. It's here in our second canto, third. He actually gave instruction that Narad, you expand this knowledge for the benefit of what I spoke to you. You expand it. So he expanded it. And then it's expanded again, Vyas expanded it more. As it comes down, as the time goes, we need more and more explanation to come to the point to surrender. Because we have so many other plans and we are not able to understand about Krishna. So therefore I'm saying that actual knowledge is knowledge of God. That will help us. Knowledge means something which is useful, which we, so many information comes. Really knowledge is what is useful. So actually spiritual knowledge and knowledge of God is knowledge. That is what Narad told him to put down, because he had already put down Vedic knowledge, so much Vedic knowledge, but not about Krishna in detail.
When we tell to the general public, your knowledge, what you have is not knowledge, on what we can provide them a basic difference.
Prabhupada said in one lecture that what we are teaching in school, this is called Shilpa Gyan. Shilpa Gyan means art of how to do something. For example, people come here in this college, they are studying degree, MBA, but what are they studying? Computer. Actually they are studying how to use a computer. This is not knowledge, this is art of how to operate something. Art of how to organize an economy, some MBA. art of how to fix a computer machine, how to program. Prabhupada, this is not really knowledge, it's shilpigyan, it's some art of some work. It cannot really elevate us and help us in a true sense. In the sense that if I have knowledge how to overcome material desires, how to connect to God, that will give me happiness and peace. Material knowledge cannot do it. However, even in Vedic age, material knowledge was given. It was given, but not so much. It was not so detailed and not given so much importance. Just enough to earn our livelihood according to our varna or the work you want to do. That's all that is required. But it just became too much now that the age when people have the most energy, brightest brain, when they can absorb on all this, they just put in this school and learning these things. Our civilization is just organized wrongly. And therefore Prabhupada wanted that we rearrange the whole civilization. He said that is the purpose of this Krishna consciousness movement.
But they will put a question like, I am getting knowledge, I am earning money, I am getting happiness.
Okay.
What you are saying is, you read this one, you will become happy. But I am constantly reading, I am not getting any happiness.
Ooh, the people who are reading about Krishna.
Yeah. If we are talking to a materialistic person,
okay,
he will be arguing with a statement like this.
Okay,
he will be
fine.
Telling, I am working,
I'm getting happiness.
Money, I am happy. In his sense, he is happy. But when we are suggesting read this about Lord, then he will say, I am reading it every day, how I will survive, I will not get any happiness. So we need to have a counter.
Okay, yeah, counter. So now if he says I'm happy, let's say that he's happy. You notice that whenever any holiday comes in any place, first thing people, they leave their house, they leave their job and go. But no one will voluntarily go and work free. Or, I got a holiday, let me go to work, it's so nice. Any opportunity we want to come out and go to the beach, go to Goa, go to Ooty, just leave this environment. This shows that people are not really wanting to work, they're doing it out of some necessity. Okay? And if you stop paying him money, he'll not work. Why should he work? He's working for the money. That's the first point.
So we can prove that that is not your happiness.
It's not happy, otherwise you go do it. Like I get free time, I'm seeing this devotee, he gets free time, he'll open the book and read. No one is telling him, paying him. He read so many, he's in college, he finished Bhagavatam, he read in college, and he read now in the last 3 months 10 books of Prabhupada, small books. He's so much attracted. Okay, no one is paying, no one is pushing, forcing. He's getting that, I have to read, this is so attractive, so nice. And even now he's coming to the program here now, even though he's in college, he's so attracted. No one is going to go and do this with work if you're not paying. Okay, that is the first point. Now, second point, I'm happy, I'm working, I'm getting money. Actually, they're not happy. The happiness we are talking about, their happiness is what some kind of sense happiness. Sense happiness means I get money so I can buy TV, I can watch, I'll be happy, I'll have a fridge, washing machine, I can go to America on holiday. But that happiness, Bhagavad Gita explains that some sparshaja bhoga duḥkhair yonaya, that happiness we are calling happiness, which from material happiness is actually suffering. Why? It says adi antavanta, because first of all, it's temporary. Supposing I go to a movie, I use my money and I go to a nice movie, the movie's ended, I come out, how do I feel? Oh God, it's over, now tomorrow I have work, tomorrow I have college. It's temporary. There's one problem. Second, that happiness doesn't really penetrate deeply. Material happiness, the proof is even though you get the person with the most money, best job, getting money, look how happy they are. They'll have anxiety, they'll have all kind of problems. But a self-realized person, he's happy. Two people are happy in this world, really. One is a self-realized soul, other is a mad person who cannot understand this material world, what it is and who am I and what is my situation. Only these two people are happy. So material happiness is not really, that we can easily prove. You just go, people are fighting at home, They are constantly seeking new movies, new songs. Unfortunately, even within family, they are not happy with their relations. So that's not really happiness. More we can explain on that, but that is almost obvious that they are not really happy. That's why they're shifting countries, changing jobs, getting new TVs, phones. They're not peaceful. Even shifting state. No one is just peaceful at home now. They are seeking true happiness. Finally, at old age, when they cannot enjoy, in the modern age, people become very morose because they're brought up to think aim is to enjoy. So they'll struggle to be able to enjoy and adjust their life and go to doctor because I cannot enjoy. There's a big problem. But a spiritual person, no, nothing can stop his happiness. It's coming from other sources. So anyway, knowledge, they're saying that I got knowledge, I'm working, I'm happy. They're not really happy in that sense. That we can easily disprove by looking at their lives. Working, knowledge, and work is not necessary. Now we put this whole thing, you must get a degree, so I am repeating many things which we discuss every day, they'll be getting bored. But we discuss these things that, you see, work is not necessary, neither is job and all this. Now this, before in India, there was no degree, study, everyone was subsisting on land, cows, and they had great intellectual acumen in Shastra and the logic and reason. There was great intellectual, people use their brains a lot. Okay, but now the idea is I can only be happy if I have a job, if I have a degree and money. So now they're putting people through this 20 years of study. Why? Actually the only means so they can get a job and be happy. 20 years we're going to these schools and LKG, etc. So that's not required. Prabhupada explains, simply 1 acre of land and 1 cow and a family can be self-sufficient. And even that land, you only need to cultivate 6 months a year. Even in that 6 months, only 8 hours a day. We'll have a lot of time for bhakti. But we took it that no, we have to come in the city, we have to do all these things. And human society now model on this way, and so no one can be happy because we are living materialistic lives with material things, and this is very distressing for the jiva. It's not really human life. People become mentally disturbed, they are breathing poisonous air, eating poisonous food, having poisonous water, and they become sick mentally, physically. And Prabhupada explained, this is not human life. No one will be happy, no one can do bhakti. So Prabhupada wanted to revolutionize the whole society. It's in his books, here in the purports, that we set up Krishna conscious communities, agrarian based, and be happy. It will take by step. Okay, any questions? We can end here. Okay, this is the last verse, chapter 5. And Narad Muni has told Vyas to compile Srimad Bhagavatam for ending the miseries of people. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.